going to look at the energy of the equinoxes, the solstices, and how they line up with the vessel of love. So you have the spring equinox on March 20th, which is with the 25 and the 46. On June 20th, you have the summer solstice with gates 15 and 10. Then on September 20th, you have the autumnal equinox with gates 46 and 25. And then on December 20th, you have the winter solstice with gates 10 and 15. So those four gates, the 25, 46, 15, 10, those are these gates of the vessel of love, which are identity center gates.
I love the fact that these are our turning points as it relates to, I would always thought the Sphinx would be the direction, but it comes in the middle of it all.
Mm-hmm.
The direction is in between the solstices and the equinox. I just find that very interesting. So I love that it is the vessel that holds down the four corners of the year.
Yeah, and that's
so fitting.
Yeah, and that relationship with the sun, they're like reflecting our relationship with the sun.
Yeah, and you know what? I want to keynote it real quick because I don't even know what it sounds like. So 25 is the universal love of all things, and we're going to need that because I have no idea what's going to grow out of those seeds, right? And then springtime, then summer, civilization, right? And you got all the throat gates there, and that's when we move into 15, right? 15 is in the that's funny, you got them written here, but I'm still looking into the clouds, pulling out of my rightness. That's inner vision. That's inner vision. You got them written there, but did you see that?
I did, totally did.
Yeah, I'm like, is the thing, it's what? So 15, yeah, and so 15 is we're gonna find the pattern that falls into a rhythm because we've got a whole growing season going on. I'm just taking this straight back to food because this would have been our longest standing thing that we, is the deepest in our DNA. And then harvest time, or nearer at harvest time, when we get to the autumn one, the autumnal equinox. And this is a time for our bodies. Our bodies are getting ready for winter. This is a huge time. We're making babies. We're getting ready to have babies in spring and early summer now. And this is where all the spleen gates are, the whole everything to do with body. And then we get to the love of ourselves and just the love of our own behavior, and the primary modeling gate 10, which says we've picked it all, we've eaten it all. I better have the right behavior in winter. I better know that I love me. My love of me is going to damn well ensure all of that. And there is nothing to harvest, and there is nothing to really do. In fact, it's a time of death before the rebirth of the final one. So there's so much symbology and mysticism in this. I mean, they've been praying to these four corners of the year for how long? The whole time since they were writing stuff on the walls and caves, right? So
yeah, you'd notice it for sure.
Yeah, and even before. So wicked significance all the way up and down with these 4 dates.
Absolutely. Autumnal equinox. So this happens around September 20th or 21st, and this lines up with gates 46 and 25. And so gate 46 is pushing upwards, or the determination of self. And then gate 25 is innocence, or the spirit of self. And so this time is about being fully embodied, alive in your body, and living life for life's sake. And I find it quite apt because when you come to fall, you enjoy, spring is the new, and then summer is the big party, and it's sunny and it's bright and you're enjoying it. And then you come to autumn and you're like, it's getting a little cozy. It's time for, hoodies and hot cocoa and cuddling up and enjoying all the bounty from all of like the summer and fall harvest coming in. And it's just being in the body, you're feeling the body, you're eating more, you're getting ready for winter. There's just being alive in your body and living life for life's sake.
I love the picture here. It's so good. You chose this picture. This is duality. It amplifies duality. I just love it. It's actually gorgeous. It just keeps making me think. So we're moving into this 46, and the whole idea of the quarter of duality is we just left civilization. Everything's built up. it's time to exactly what Moni just said, cozy up, get ready for winter. Part of getting ready for winter is pair bonding. I mean, just many people will already have been bound or bonded into a tribe or a thing or whatever, but it's still, duality is about that human experience of coming together. It's not about the stars as much like any other time could be, because this is very interpersonal between others, between each other. So this love of the body is the place to be for that. And the way to accept the fact that we're moving into decline is the universal love of all things. The movement into decline is told by gate 25, I got you, it's good. Don't worry, we're coming back. We're going to make a definition again real soon. In the quarter of initiation, you just got to go hibernate for a while. Don't worry, you'll love yourself enough to do that. I mean, these quarters talk to each other like there's no tomorrow, and the beginnings of these particular quarters in the wheel, they have a love language between them as they move around the wheel that tells a continuity. It writes a whole story, frankly.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's neat, like that idea of being grounded in the 25. The earth is in 25 at this time, and being grounded in that innocence, that spirit of self of like, hey, trust me, I know it's getting colder, but like, we got this. We're going to make it through. So being grounded in that innocence and that spirit of self. And so the sun can shine, that pushing upwards, that determination of self, that living for life's sake and just like enjoying it, that balancing again of the sun and the day and the nighttime, the light and the darkness of the autumnal equinox.
It's the perfect arrangement of an opposition, and not the other way around, not 25-46, but this 46-25 is the perfect arrangement to step into the oncoming decline. It started. The decline period is on its way. I mean, the decline starts at the end of the last one, right? Right there. Obviously, the sun starts being a minute less, but it doesn't matter that much until you get here. And when you get here, yeah, it's coming in. It's like the song, Mr. Blue Sky, where did he go? Here came Mr. Night, creeping across his shoulder. Here we are. Mr. Night is creeping across the shoulder. And I can't think of any better place to be than the love of the body that just doesn't mind sharing. The love of the body is in a collective channel, and it doesn't mind sharing its love of itself universally with others, and hopefully with another. That's where all this love bonding comes in. We're really good at that when we let ourselves. I mean, we're the most loyal creatures when we let ourselves. I know a lot of people are scratching their head and they're like, what, Dan? Could have fooled me. And I'm like, that's not self.
Mm-hmm.
You get people this is the greatest time that people awaken to themselves as they pair bond. In my opinion, this is like perfect for it, to wake up and be like, no, as awake beings, there'll be very little of that discontent,
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't say no friction, just that,
Yeah, it would be understood. You're living correctly, or
understood.
you're
Yeah.
correctly pair bonding, and you're breaking up correctly, and
Yeah.
being
All of
able
it.
to engage in that kind of energetically aware way.
Yeah. Perfect. So that autumn, energetically aware day. That's what I call this day, energetically aware day.
Perfect.
Yeah.
In conclusion, the equinoxes and the solstices of the year line up with the gates of the vessel of love, the 25, the 46, the 15, and the 10. These times of year, in the spring, the summer, the autumn, and the winter, we're energetically programmed to realign our direction with love.
It's just and it's smack that simple, and energetically programmed to stay in line if we can. And this acts as these borders to keep reminding us, and we keep celebrating these times. Everyone knows these times. It's built into our genome.
It's really cool that we get to live in a time where we get to kind of peer behind the curtain with the beautiful knowledge that is human design. It is endlessly fascinating to me, the different angles that you can look at and link things up and view things and just perceive the energetics, and that it's just built in. It's just built into the programming that we realign with love, that it lines up with these times of what the sun is doing and how that guides us, how that's linked up I just think it's really, really beautiful.
The gates of the vessel are a cool type of love, whereas all the stuff with the solar plex would be more hot, right? And juicy and just filled up with a lot more stuff. Notice the vessel doesn't concern itself with the emotional process. None of those gates touch anywhere into the emotional or even down into the energetic of the root. And it has one awareness, the body, the spleen, so it's so much weighted in all of that. It's got two motors, the ego and the sacral, so it's well energized and it's staring at direction. It's just staring at it. It is the empowerment of the direction. And it just goes to prove love ends up being that fifth force. If you want to get scientific, that's what we got: the gravitational, electromagnetic, strong force, and weak force inside the atomic structures. And those are the four forces. We know about them. We've been playing with them ever since, forever. This is a fifth force. Einstein said it was a force. In his final paper, basically, he's just like, that other little God particle force, I've been waiting to publish this, and he called it love. And he came up with an E equals MC squared for the dynamic called love. And he's like, it's a force, and it apparently is moving stuff in the universe. This his words, not mine.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
love,
it's just intense. It's intense, and it's not emotional. It's not mental either. It's none of those things. It's right out of the gut.
mhm,
Gut love. Spleen, because the spleen's it's got an awareness. Think of it like a type. Just think of it a configuration with a total awareness pointing at the spleen. That's it. No mental, no toy factory confusing us. No emotional stuff to have to wait on. We're not waiting on no wave. We're now love. 46, 25, 10. It's all now stuff. And 15's riding a wave right now. So, or not.
yeah, and I mean, it's interesting because I feel like love has been so overused and it's made so soft, like, love this, love that, love that, like it's kind of been a word that's been used so much, it's like lost its oomph, where it's like love is a force. Like love is a powerful force that's holding us all together. It's like what your parents deal with that you put them through growing up and they still love you, like what you would do for someone you care about, for a family member. It's like the mother that lifts the car off of the toddler. Love is this force, and it is the glue that's holding us together. And even like imagining the body graph where we have the sphinx gates that are like giving us our direction, but in order to like give us that direction, we also need to be first. It's almost like the love is the glue, and so it's
And
like
the
split up.
empowerment of,
Yeah,
so much of it is coming off of a motor guided by a gut awareness.
yeah.
It's obvious.
Yeah, and it just like it feels like we have these 4 times a year, these solstices, these equinoxes, where it's almost like we're like realigned and re-glued together because it's this force, but it's also this force that's like holding us together. And then the flip time of the 4 sphinx times of a year, which is then like giving us our direction. And it's almost like a heartbeat where it's like this love that's holding us together, and then this like sphinx direction that goes outward, and the love that holds us together, and that sphinx direction that goes outward. Like even that aspect of the identity center as a heart.
And the heart center is what fires up, and it's just that it's good that the heart center and the identity are the first two centers that show up, because it's the first definition. So love of all things, empowered by an ego and the will to do so. That's where we start in that quarter of initiation. It says an awful lot. Love is a force. It's an incredible force. It's a force like hope. When enough people's hope, they've been taking lots of polls recently, and people are hoping things are going to get better. There's new hope, sort of. I've seen some of
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen Gallup things or this or that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's powerful. That's powerful. It'll move markets. It'll move this. It'll move everything. And by the way, if I can geek out for a second, it was about 10 years ago. I went about the business of mathematically proving love as a force, and I estimated how many calories a human body would burn up in an average day. And then I started counting up the population as it grew. And I said to myself, I just took a guess. How much of that time was spent because we loved something that made us then move? and get to work or to do a thing and to get our kids someplace. And that's now that we have cars. I went back, 1,000 years or 500 years, I think, when the population would have been a lot less, and they were still doing it. Obviously, we've been doing it all along. And you add up all those calories, and you've got several quadrillion megajoules. Not quadrillion, not too many. It's like several billion megajoules of energy. That's a small sun for a little while. That's like a small sun for 15 minutes or something like that. That's a lot. Just human energy spent in the furtherance of strictly of loving something. Love's a force. I can prove it because it moved a lot of calories that turned into a lot of joules of energy that does a lot of work, like all the other forces would do when you just look at it in a system. So realize that sounds a little bit geeky, but it's it's there. It's true. So we did that. And we keep doing it.
Happy solstice, happy equinox.
Yeah.
Enjoy
Love your
realigning
neighbor.
love your neighbor as you would love
Yeah.
yourself. And yeah,
Yeah. Love yourself first.
love yourself, love your neighbor. And thank you for hanging out, and thank you for watching and liking and subscribing, and we'll catch you next time.
Great conversation. Catch you next time, everyone.